Hello everybody, Keith here again. I am sincerely hoping I don't make the same complete mess of doing this video as I did the videos I did the other day. I did some more repots and completely fouled everything. Ended up without a single usable video out of 4 plants that are repotted, so I'm sincerely hoping that today goes a lot better. I want to have a look at my Epidendrum. It's finally out of flower. The last flowers came off it today, completely dried up. Some people have said that it can shoot again from the same stem. It's not really showing any signs of that at the moment, but they're not dying too far back, as you can see, so I'm going to leave it at that for now and we'll see how we're getting on. It's still in the medium it was in when it came. It's that soily stuff. It's doing okay. I'm having to be very, very careful with the watering with this. And although it's dry on the top, it isn't completely dry lower down, and that's always the problem with this stuff. That it must be great when you're in a country or in some kind of horticultural setting where you can get these things in this stuff and just do it properly. I can't. I don't know many people can. Certainly not in Europe, so I'm going to try and repot it and then keep my fingers crossed that everything goes okay. As I understand it, fairly typical of Epidendrums, it's got a lot of cakeys on it. Most of them are doing quite well. Some, the roots have gone so far, and like that one, it's died back. We'll get that one in focus, I think so, just about. This bit, you can see that the root's dying back now, but most of the roots are okay. If they can reach the top of the medium, they're doing all right. But I'd like to have a look in the pot. I did have a quick squint at it a while ago, and the roots didn't seem to be doing too badly. And people have said, oh, don't do anything with it until it's finished flowering. Right, well okay, it's finished flowering. We've got some more canes that are still growing, some that appear to be just terminating, so I think now is about as good a time to do this as any. Well, surprise, surprise, it's obviously not been potted into this stuff very long. Probably to be sent out to the shops, and it looks as if I might have got away with it by being very careful with what I do with them for water. Just trying to get these sticks off without knocking everything to goodness knows where and back again. Typical Epidendrum. The canes are very tall and not very stable on their own. And we got 2 plants in the pot. Well, that's a surprise to nobody, I don't think. Something that's often done, of course, to make a plant look better to the buyer. But having said that, it doesn't look too bad. It's not rotting away down here. That's been potted quite a long way down, and I'm going to have to pot it at least that far down or take some of these cakeys off. This one's only got one root and another one coming, so I don't think that would do any good. This one's got a couple of roots. They're not ever so big on this one. So I think what I'm going to do is put it back more or less as it was, because the roots are absolutely fine. No problem at all. So that's one of them. Second plant. Again, that root's not very clever. And that one isn't. There's a few dud ones on there, but most of them are absolutely fine. There's one there that's not. But I think for the most part, we've actually got quite a decent plant. Some of these roots, I think, don't know what to think, to be honest, but this one, we've got cakeys that have got more roots, or in this particular case, you've got one keiki there and another keiki branching off that one immediately. What on earth would you do with that? You've got one there that's really quite big and ought to do okay. If I take that one off, no, well, there we are. That one's come away without any effort on my part. So that's two bits. Now what can we do with this one? What have we got here? We've got quite a nice keiki there. We've got this one is quite short. I think if I that is tricky. That one can come off, although it hasn't come off very well and it's left some of the roots behind, so that is not brilliant. I hope that will go all right. We'll have to trim that and give it a dose of cinnamon, I think. Right, let's just take that off. So, okay, these then need taking off with a bit more care than you do, say, with a dendrobium. Right, that's come off much better. Now that is a bit of old plant. The roots are absolutely fine, but it's a rather manky piece of old plant, so I think that can go, that can be discarded. So we've ended up, we've got two bits there that are effectively two keikis together, so if I plant that there, they should go away without too much trouble. We've got some nice roots on that. We've got this one, which I've made a bit of a mess of taking off, but you've got a lot of leaves. You should have some reserves in this, and hopefully these roots will move on. Where's my cinnamon gone? That was definitely a mistake. With a bit of cinnamon, I don't want to keep my fingers crossed. That one, we've got a decent plant. We've got a new growth down at the bottom, just there. That root's not brilliant all the way back, but some of it is. Yeah, most of the roots on that are alright. And then we've got this one, which is the bit that's actually flowered. And the roots on that are all absolutely great. So really I'm just going to put that back more or less as it was, and we'll just see how all this lot develops. I think it can go back into the same size pot. not that big, and I'm very much of two minds what to do with it. Unlike most of the Cattleya group, these do like much more moisture, so they don't want to dry out completely and very rapidly like some of the others do. So I think what I'm going to do is something I've never tried before. I'm going to use a mixture of Westland medium, which I generally don't like too much because it's got a rather more fine material in it than I like to use. But I've used that with some, say that was some coarse stuff. I don't like that Westland stuff. It does tend to end up washing down and blocking the air cone, and I think that's going to be important. So what I'll do, I think, in fact, is I'm going to use moss and bark. I'll stand by moss and bark, bit of perlite, and some carbon, and I'll mix that up, and then I'll come back in a minute. Right, back again. I'm going to use a very small amount of moss. I don't think it's going to want masses. I've got some here that is left over from other repots. I'm going to rip it up nice and fine. This is the standard dead moss that we normally use, so not ever such a lot, because I really don't think it's going to want it. Just perhaps something to give it a bit more moisture for a bit longer, shall we say. A small amount of perlite, about the same, not an awful lot of that. Again, that has a bad habit of washing out and ending up either in the bottom of the pot or in a layer where you don't really want layers. Some of this aquarium charcoal I've got, again, about the same. I think it could be debatable whether you need it or not, but I think anything which might conceivably take out some of the nasties. On the other hand, since it's used as a filter, you could be reducing the amount of fertiliser that gets to your plant as well, but it could take some of that out. So I don't want an awful lot. It might keep things sweet, it might not, I don't know. So if I get some of this, it's fairly coarse without being completely insane. I think by the time I put some of that bark in the bottom to crock it, that should be enough. Right, we're definitely going to end up needing stakes. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Coming up a little bit, I think. This is where it always gets a little bit tricky when you're potting a number of plants in the same pot. I think if you want all of them to end up about the same height, don't you? So yeah, this is going to be quite tricky, is this, trying to get all of these in the pot and potted and okay. So yeah, not good, Keithy, not good. Have I got to lift any of these up a bit? That one's alright. That one. Oh, that one's a bit low. There we go. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. I've done what I often do these days, which is plant the orchid quite low down if I can, so that the top of the pot is higher than the top of the medium, or markedly higher than the top of the medium. The idea of that is that when I'm watering, the stuff doesn't float out the top, which it can, and that can be a complete pain in the proverbial. So anyway, that's a fairly quick repot of my no idea Epidendrum. I think it's the orange version of Comet Valley or something like that, which similar to the one that Roger's got, I believe, looking at his video just now to try and get an idea of what to pot this thing in. So we'll just have to wait and see how this one reacts from being repotted. Thank you for watching. I hope that's been of some kind of interest, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.